What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Domuto. We're back with another video. Today we are watching Patrick Shishi, and we're watching how one terrible podcast exposed Howie Mandel. All right, Howie Mandel. Okay, it's the nigga for Deal or No Deal, man. Howie Mandel, what the fuck you doing, man? Howie Mandel. Yeah, that was my show too. Deal or No Deal, boy. Damn. Anyway, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and you know what I'm saying, we will get into the video.
You know what they say, you either die the hero or live long enough to start a podcast and people realize they actually hate you. This couldn't be more true for Howie Mandel, who has become so disliked that even Dana White walked off his podcast within 20 seconds of being introduced.
Damn.
You're an amazing businessman, you are an inspiration, you are a philosopher. The way you do business, the way you conduct your business and your friendships and media is I'm jealous, but Dana, I can't thank you enough for being here.
And thank you for all the kind words. I appreciate it. I am so tired of doing podcasts. I'm literally done with them. I'm not doing any more podcasts.
Damn. Nah, I ain't gonna lie, we gotta fight. Nah, I know it's Dana White, but we gotta fight.
However, the podcast that changed Howie's public perception actually occurred when he was a guest on Not Today, Pal, which is a podcast hosted by Jamie Lynn Sigler and Rob Eiler, who are most famous for their roles as brother and sister on The Sopranos, one of the most iconic TV shows of all time. Now, the problem with this episode can be assessed by the very first thing that Rob said.
Some people would introduce our guest as Hollywood royalty, but to me he is the Christopher Columbus of my people, which are the germaphobes, the OCD.
Thank you.
These people, I just want to thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you. I'm the Christopher Columbus of mental health.
Yeah, I feel like you were the first one out there.
I discovered neurosis and
you put
OCD.
it on the map.
I feel like you went out
there.
there.
So the Nina, the Pinta, and the sanitizer.
Yes.
Oh,
Very
wow.
good.
There
What I did there?
I love it.
Rob chose to introduce Howie not for his accomplishments in Hollywood, such as being the host of Deal or No Deal, one of the biggest game shows of all time, perhaps being a long-standing judge on America's Got Talent, or maybe being the voice of Gizmo in the 1980s classic The Gremlins, or even simply that Howie is a veteran stand-up comedian who has been performing since 1977. Instead, Rob chose to celebrate Howie for his openness over the years about his obsessive-compulsive disorder. It is very publicly known that Howie is a germaphobe, but that is a massive understatement to how he describes his OCD. A vicious dark circle. His makeup artist must use brand new sponges every day. He won't touch his money unless it's been washed. He avoids handrails like the plague. Handrails are my enemy. I never go near a handrail. Even the reason why he is bald is because he believes it is cleaner than having hair to maintain and wash.
What the fuck?
I'm always on the verge of death in my mind, he said in 2009. He even wrote a book about going public with his struggle with OCD called Here's the Deal, Don't Touch Me. Now, the reason why Rob introduced Howie this way is because Rob too suffers from extreme OCD, specifically in the form of obsession over germs. Rob made it clear from the beginning that he looked up to Howie. He established common ground with their OCD struggles, and it seemed like Rob wanted to deep dive on this topic.
Do you think...
I don't have an OCD, but I do feel like, even when I was a kid, like I felt like if my hands were dirty, I had to wash them, like, instantly. Like, if I, like, that was me, even as a kid. No, I'll probably say not as a kid, but like I say like 10, 11, I started doing like, man, I gotta wash my hands if I did anything. Especially when I used to shake my thumb. I would not put my thumb in my mouth if I knew my hands were dirty. Like I couldn't do it at all. So I was like, damn, I gotta wash my hands. It's not OCD like these. I know they don't touch nothing. Or, you know, so they make sure everything is clean before they do it, but.
Germaphobe eventually will get a new name that'll be changed into where they won't use germaphobe anymore.
Like a more technical name?
It'll get woke.
Or there is a technical name.
What is it?
Misophobia.
Misophobia.
Yes, but I think eventually it'll just be known as Howie.
Rob probably lives your dream life, to be quite honest.
Why?
I barely leave my home, yeah.
Either do I.
Yeah, really?
No, it seems like I'm out there because I'm on television and I'm on podcasts, but I'm a hermit. I live in the fetal position in my room wherever I am, unless I come out to to regale you with stories.
Right.
But do you love being home, or is it like a torture where you're like, I want to go out, but I'm stuck here?
I spend my life trying not to be tortured, but because my resting face or my resting being is tortured.
Mm-hmm.
So I spend my life not to be tortured.
Howie also goes on to say that he is doing better than ever these days. He is taking medication and receiving therapy to combat his disability. But the key thing that helps him through his tribulations is distraction.
The biggest one is distraction. So I stay busy, as busy as possible.
Did he catch? I don't know. Did he catch COVID? Man?
Doing all the things
curious.
that I'm doing as frequently as I do them is by choice, and then when I'm doing that, then it distracts me from my own inner mind. Unless you show up someplace and they want to talk about it. No, I'm okay.
Oh,
with
really?
that.
You don't want to talk about
No,
it?
I'm okay talking about it.
It's interesting that Howie details how not thinking about his OCD is the main reason why he is able to cope, and he even says that when people talk about it, it makes him very uncomfortable, but then he quickly recants his statement and claims to be just joking. Howie likely said that because most people probably ask him a few questions and then move on, but Rob genuinely wanted to learn, have a deeper conversation, and maybe get some advice from Howie. And after 8 minutes straight of this discussion, Howie again jokingly stated that he did not want to talk about it.
I think even in this moment, if we talk about it, I'd be a lot more comfortable rolled up at home than sitting here with two people I don't really know. I like you. I'm not knocking you, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
I
know.
get it.
I don't know what you've touched or who you've been with or
100%.
what's breathing out of you. But the truth of the matter is, I'm doing this, and this is good.
The conversation temporarily shifts for a few minutes, but Rob circles back to asking for some advice regarding his dating life.
So something that's really is a problem in almost all my relationships is the phone in the bed. When I go to lay down and the girl I'm dating has her phone in the bed, and like I'm like, hey, listen, I'm crazy. Like, that's the way I did. I go, I'm crazy. It bothers me. I go, can you try it? And they're like, oh, of course, yeah, sorry. And then, of course, the next day, and because they're used to putting their phone in the bed.
Right.
And I find the phone to be so disgusting, and I want my bed to be very clean, wonderful place. Give me some advice. I also want to know from 1 to 10.
Ass pods.
Ass pods?
Yeah, instead of AirPods. Ass pods.
So Rob asks for genuine advice, and Howie makes a bad joke. And this is where
That
the
shit
tone
ain't funny,
shifts
nigga.
a little bit. It seems like Howie diverts to humor when he either doesn't understand a question or wasn't paying attention, or simply just because he is a comedian. However, you'll notice that his jokes don't land most of the time because his delivery is extremely dry and not witty. Combine that with the fact that he doesn't really want to discuss his OCD, and you get this nightmare of a conversation.
What's my advice to you?
Or even would something like
Are you
that
talking about
bother
the
you?
germs?
100%.
I wasn't even thinking of the germs.
Oh, it's
I mean,
100%.
how exciting are you if you bring a woman to bed and she brings her phone?
I'm talking about.
How about a little scroll and roll?
There are women who lay in bed at night on their phone, and then
Not
they take
on
the
a
phone.
date.
I'm not talking about a date. I'm saying I'm dating someone for months, and they're in their bed, or sometimes you show up at their place, you show up at my place, and the phone is on the bed because they were in the bed on their phone. The germs from the phone in the bed really bother me, but I can't. What are you supposed to do? Like, I can't.
I don't think about the germs on the phone. The germs on the phone would be the same as the germs on her body. Like, where did she put her phone that she wasn't?
No, people. They do swabs on phones, and they're like phones.
Don't
are
bother me with this. Don't tell me what's the phone is bad.
You just asked me, I think.
To clarify, this is what Rob is talking about.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm Rob and his partner is my girlfriend Riley. Rob does not like when his partner scrolls social
Patrick,
media
what the
while laying
fuck?
in bed. Or maybe even leaving their phone on the bed when they get up and go to the bathroom. Rob thinks this is filthy
doing
because
the
cell
skits
phones
now?
carry 10 times more bacteria than most toilet
my phone's
seats.
off my
Now,
bed.
Riley and I don't typically use our phones in bed because a few minutes after we crawl into our Helix Midnight Lux mattress, we fall into a deep sleep. Helix Sleep makes
Oh my
premium
God.
mattresses in bed. Howie finally decided to give Rob some advice, and it was honestly pretty decent, but then Rob shot it down immediately.
Can I give you an idea?
Please.
Those
Ass
little.
pods.
No, that's for taking calls.
Oh.
But what about those little sandwich bags? Those little
Ziploc?
Ziploc clear sandwich bag. You go before you come in the bed. Just drop it in here, zip it up. There you go. You can see it. It's there, and it doesn't touch the sheets. You should have sandwich Ziploc bags on your nightstand. If you're
That's not bad.
Listen, I like that, but the problem then becomes if they don't remember that I don't like the phone in the bed, they don't remember to put it in the bag. You know what I mean?
Are you dating somebody right now?
Right now I'm not, because of my many issues.
Since Rob did not take Howie's advice,
That's
Howie
weird.
thought of trying to turn the situation into a joke, suggesting that maybe the girl was on her phone because she was on probation being tracked by a parole officer.
What?
But Rob didn't even think he was joking and even talked about how he once dated a girl on probation.
I don't not let somebody do it.
Oh,
I
that-
just, after like 3 weeks.
All right, I'm not blaming that on Howie. That's more of a Rob thing right there. That's a nigga not understanding a joke. Not understanding what a joke is or at the moment, because he's so serious about what they talking about. Like, bro, it's not. Look, I get your OCD. I respect it. At like, nigga. Sometimes a nigga don't want to talk about this shit. A nigga's OCD. Just because that's just him. That's just how it is. That doesn't mean he want to talk about it all day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just that's what it's what that person do. If that person just, just don't want to be. He's a germaphobe or whatever. Look, let him be a germaphobe. If you want to talk about it, talk about it. You ask this nigga a whole
Weeks of dating,
podcast.
if they can never do it, I just go, I can't do this anymore.
Now there's a problem if Howie doesn't do, he's
instead
gonna
of
talk
trying
about
to
this.
be like, can't you please? I don't
Well,
want
how
to
do
make
you
it
know
her
they're not
problem.
on? Like they could. You don't. There might be a reason for it. Maybe they're on probation and they have to be. They're being tracked.
But I've
by a
dated girls on probation who don't do the phone in the bed. They're
Oh,
fine
well, he
with
kind of said it
And
kind of
they'll do the
serious.
ankle bracelet.
it. Yeah. Because we do the alcohol wipes before she gets in.
And he doesn't like to leave the house anyway.
Yeah,
And you
it's
don't do
great.
the alcohol wipes on her phone before you even go to bed.
She won't. I also don't. The phone.
You
is,
have a woman that'll go to bed with you but won't let you wipe her phone.
Here's the problem. The phone is up by the head. The ankle bracelet's down by the feet, so
talking
it doesn't bother
about-
me as much.
Once Howie realizes that Rob is not understanding the joke, he gets serious again, trying to give genuine advice, only for Rob to once again immediately shut down Howie's thoughts.
No problem telling anybody I'm a germaphobe. But if you say you're a germaphobe, can't I swab or wipe your phone?
Yes, but then it becomes the living the life where I don't want to be watching her every
Alright.
hour and every minute of every day.
No, just
when
before
she's
bed.
walking.
It's a thing.
But it's not a before bed. Like people like to go and just walk into the bed and put the phone. Like people like to be in the bed even when it's not
Do you
bedtime.
sleep in a f***ing phone case? Why do they always
Listen,
go in there
I-
before and
He's
put
a
their
boy
phone?
in a bubble.
I live in a one bedroom, dude. I don't live in a mansion. Half the f***ing apartment is the bed.
Wow.
Yeah,
You're really charming the ladies. I can hear the
Hey.
ladies listening right now.
bro. That's why I'm single, man, and a ton of reasons.
But there was another layer
Nah.
of disconnect that was more subtle but added to the animosity in the room. Rob and Jamie realized throughout the podcast that Howie did not really know anything about them. It's common podcast etiquette to do some research on someone you are about to have a public conversation with, even if you are the guest on their podcast. But Howie revealed the first clue when he asked if they were a couple.
Are you two a couple? I don't know a lot about you.
No.
No,
We were
Well,
on.
no.
We were co-stars in a television show as early teens, late teens, for 10 years, and then have continued our close friendship. We have a unique chemistry, and sort of that's what this show is about.
Were you ever a couple, even when you were
Never
working
a couple.
together? Oh.
Never.
Not even for not
You
even
do-
like,
Not
oh,
even
we
a-
flirted. Like
yeah.
we would go out to clubs and parties and never. It was always like very. We played brother and
We
sister.
feel
so
like
it's very
brother and
Is
sister.
that
sister.
so? And that you live that instead of you
Yeah.
live like brother and sister.
Rob gets physically uncomfortable when people insinuate him and Jamie are a couple, and it's hilarious.
What?
It's likely that most of the people watching this video do not know about the Not Today Pal podcast. The podcast was established because Jamie and Rob
What
have
the
been best
hell?
friends since childhood. They acted as brother and sister on The Sopranos and literally grew up on the show. So
I
they
ain't
carried
never
that
seen an episode of The
brother-sister
Sopranos.
bond and dynamic throughout their lives. With a little bit of research, Howie could have avoided that awkward moment. But a few minutes later, he mentioned that he did not know them again before explaining to them what their whole podcast is about.
My view of from where I stand. I don't know. I know who you are, but I don't know you guys. But as we sat down, you kind of captured the beginning of this as like I'm f***ed up and Howie helped me. I not help me, but I have mental health. I love that. I have problems. I'm single. I can't find somebody who won't put their filthy phone in my bed. And then slowly but surely, the wave of neurosis comes to this side where you take shoes for no reason at all. You're very concerned about what others think more than what is right to do. This is like a wave of, this is like a group session where we're going around. It's a meeting. It's like an intervention.
On the surface, this might seem like a subtle issue, but it's disrespectful at worst, but unprofessional at best. Like, imagine how Howie would feel if the player midway through Deal or No Deal was like, oh, so I'm supposed to guess the cases and hope that they contain low amounts of money because I want to win the high amount of money?
Right.
It's like, yeah, dude, welcome to the show. There was also a moment where they talked about their ages, and his reaction to that information just made his level of cluelessness more apparent.
Because we've been friends for like 25 years or whatever, the boys pick a photo of us on, they Google a photo of us.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 38.
Oh, wow. Same age as my kid. One of my kids.
Yeah. So we've been friends for 26, going on
You're in
27.
your 40s?
I'm 42.
You don't look it. Wow.
Oh, thanks.
So you were dealing with a bunch of f***ing kids here, huh?
I thought you were
Howie?
kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
no.
And after about the 20-minute mark, the conversation just totally fell off the rails. The hosts are agitated that Howie doesn't know them, and they think he's kind of being an asshole. Howie doesn't know if he should be funny or serious, and it's not like they can tell the difference anyways.
Yeah, that's
and this
crazy.
train wreck of a conversation really becomes noticeable in their conversation about Nair, which is a hair removal cream that safely removes unwanted hair from the body.
Every day, every morning shave?
No?
No?
No.
You don't have
Nair.
to shave the sides?
I use Nair.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Love Nair.
And is that so?
Love it.
When you're in a hotel, are you wiping your hair on like the hotel towels and tossing them? Where does this go?
What does that
I've
mean?
never used hair. I've never used Nair.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the process there?
I'm not using Nair. I shave.
Nair is.
I thought my grandma used Nair.
Nair is.
Your grandma?
My
you
grandma
can
used Nair on her arms.
You can open a bottle of
Really?
Nair and
Yeah.
smell.
Why do you know that?
Because she always had the Nair, and everyone made fun of her. And
So you have a hairy, like your grandmother has hairy arms, and then
She
she
never
would cream
did.
it because she creamed it off. But you asked your grandmother, Grandma, where did the hair go? I'm fascinated at the fact that her grandson knows the process in his grandmother's hair removal.
well, again, Howie, you're living in mansions. People like me, I grew up in a one-bedroom with many people.
Oh, so
and
she
all
used to
your
come
stuff,
over. It's right there.
all your stuff is with each other.
Is that the
There's
only
no,
limbs that she removed hair from?
that I know of? I know it was a big.
All
on
right,
her arm,
all
but she
right.
probably
Too much
used it on her whole
information,
body.
boy.
Yeah,
Really? Well, she was older. She didn't use it on her whole body.
I don't know. She wasn't that old. I was a young. I was.
Did
she was
she
only
have a
probably,
landing strip?
I don't know. I never.
Why do you say I don't know
I
with
never looked.
disappointment? Like, why are you disappointed?
Because I feel like I'm disappointing you not knowing the answer.
What the fuck? All right, Howie. Nah, don't be asking me about my grandma and her land. I don't know, nigga. I don't know this shit. That's weird. All right, okay. He's just getting awkward. You should just leave. You be like, all right. You get in this conversation. We're okay. I would have ended the whole podcast like, all right, man. Thanks for coming. But these guys, these two right here, they don't seem very confrontational. So I don't know. I'm not
Well, how
confrontational.
disappointed am I not knowing what your grandmother's vagina looks like?
Well, I've been alive for 38 years. No one ever asked me if my grandma had a landing strip, so I thought
You brought up the fact that your grandmother was removing hair.
from her arms.
Well, it doesn't just stop there.
The conversation is extremely unfocused and oddly hostile, but the true peak moment of chaos that ended the conversation was when they brought up a photo of Howie acting in the 1989 movie Little Monsters. Howie brought up his OCD, which they took seriously because that's what they do. Then he tried to make a joke about it, and then kind of insulted Jamie by getting her name wrong and calling her Amy.
Yeah, that's me on the right.
I need to show my kids this movie.
It's so I remember.
I have to. They're gonna love it.
This was a hell for me.
It was.
Hell.
Well, we're
Because-
Was it the
we're bringing
makeup?
a lot of hell
No,
up for you here,
I'll tell you
Howie.
why.
I apologize.
No, but I'm wrapped in rubber. And
So
you know,
much, yeah.
and nowadays
Sounds like your dream.
I felt like such a dick.
You did?
See what I did there?
I got it.
Oh, because
Explain
you
it
were
to
wrapped
Amy.
in rubber.
Yeah.
Jamie.
Okay. Amy.
Jamie,
So,
'cause
so
I-
I was just
I called you Jamie, so
Oh,
he probably
it might
you know,
be confusing.
just a
It's
little
okay.
nickname, Jamie.
Jamie. I thought I was wrong.
No,
I
so
didn't
you
know.
can call me Jamie.
I
You
didn't
can
know.
definitely
I
call
didn't
me Jamie.
understand what he was doing, and I tried to.
All chemistry was lost.
Yeah.
The nail in the coffin was when Howie just refused to answer one of Rob's questions.
I'm not into old women or young. Like I don't even like the 18, 20. I'm like I like that middle. I like that sweet spot of, whatever that is, 30, where I don't have to think about it. I don't have to go, oh, that person's older. Oh, that person looks too young. You know what I mean?
No.
Howie looks back off set, which seems like he's looking for a way to get out of this conversation and leave. But they're only 30 minutes into the podcast, so it's not time for him to go, and it just keeps getting worse.
You're really good at what you do. I've watched it. You're really good actors, too.
Thank
Are
you.
you still pursuing acting at all?
I am.
I hate it.
Yeah, he hates it.
Really?
I hate it. Yeah, I hate the weird, because you know what it is,
You just told me how much you loved it when I said I want to do movies, and you said I like it because you can read the scripts. And
no, I'm saying I hate television compared to film. I'd rather do film because you know what you have to do getting into it.
Are you going after film?
I hate all of it. No,
Oh.
I don't.
I don't understand what you're saying.
I don't. If I had to choose, I was just saying it's interesting that I don't like television, but I
This
like
is the worst podcast episode
Howie does not
ever
relate
in
to
the
Rob
episode.
at all, but they keep asking him questions.
I would not listen
You
to this
have
podcast.
recurring
Well, I
dreams?
wouldn't listen to these people.
I'll
but-
translate.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. That was Howie.
Now Rob's trying to make jokes and they're not landing, and Howie starts to look pissed off. They all seem very obviously agitated and are looking for an excuse to just end this train wreck. But before Howie goes, he just needs to remind everyone that he didn't actually forget Jamie's name. He didn't think her name was Amy, but rather Rob confused him when he called her by her nickname, Yamie.
Like, I've done my homework. And Amy, I just said your name out loud. It's like, that's the problem with overthinking. Get you in trouble if you just do
Always.
what you know.
Every time.
Yeah,
Every
It'll
time.
but
work
it's
out.
not in trouble. It's a great moment. It's great that you thought her name was Amy. I love it.
Yeah.
That's a great moment.
Yeah. It's a
Wow.
great moment.
Then you've had a shitty life.
Yeah.
If that
I don't
in
leave
your
my
mind
apartment. I don't
is
leave my
a great
apartment.
moment, me
I say no to
getting
everything.
the wrong name.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
say no
so
to
he's not
everything.
Why are you here today?
Because I did say yes to Tom. I said yes to Tom and Christina when they offered us a podcast.
After the show, commenters flooded to defend Rob and Jamie. Howie is a jackass. This guy disrespected Jamie. Why was Howie so rude to Rob? Rob was excited to talk with Howie and get some insight to OCD and possible advice, and Howie just criticized everything Rob said. Hard to watch. I thought I liked Howie until hearing him on this episode. Not your fault, Rob and Jamie. You two are the best. The guest was just surprisingly shitty. Especially to Rob, who
Yeah, that was
started out ready to
terrible.
connect and ended up desperate to get the fuck out of there. Brutal. Keep in mind, Howie is 68 years old and Rob is 38. Howie comes from a generation where mental health was vastly stigmatized. He probably still has those moments where he does not want to vocalize his OCD. He doesn't want to be perceived as weak, which is also why he consistently keeps himself working on all these TV shows and podcasts, so he is not consumed by his disability. Rob comes from the generation where the importance of mental health is more accepted and understood. Younger people
38? Nah, 38 is too old. To that generation. This an 80s baby right here. The crack epidemic, baby. Well, I'm pretty sure his mom wasn't on crack. I'm just saying. The 80s baby. Hell no. Them niggas don't give a fuck about mental health in the 80s. What the hell? I'm just saying.
people who suffer are encouraged to
I'd
and
say
more
more
likely to
20s.
speak about their illnesses. It's not clear if Rob was necessarily asking
that makes
Howie
sense,
for
though.
help looking for a specific answer, or if he was just trying to have a general conversation surrounding the topic. They suffer from a similar condition, but their personalities and their approach to handling it could not be more opposite. But this all accelerated when YouTuber Too Lazy to Try made a video criticizing Howie's behavior on the show. Too Lazy felt like Howie was being unsympathetic to Rob's genuine questions.
This one was tough to listen to, but I think it was mostly because of Howie. It felt like he was trying to make Rob as uncomfortable as possible. Like anything Rob would say, Howie would ask him 10 questions about it, and then Howie would make some weird jokes that would never land, and then he'd have to explain everything.
And his community agreed with him. The irony of an old man dressing like a teenager only to talk down on the other
He
adults
like a
as
teenager?
if they're the ones too immature to be worthy of mutual respect. Jamie and Rob gave their thoughts on the whole situation on a later podcast with Jim Norton.
I don't want to call anybody out, but sometimes you have a guest who you don't really like very much.
Oh,
and
have you had that?
People notice. Listen, I don't. Maybe we
Just
did.
what?
Maybe we
Just
did.
what?
Yeah, maybe we did.
Now,
maybe we
obviously,
did.
no
Just
names.
like-
No names. But can I ask you?
There'll be no way they could figure it out.
No. Because I've had
No one noticed.
I've had things like that too, where you're just not clicking with the person, or there's something, or they come in with a attitude. or they
Yeah.
wanna
Yeah,
talk.
yeah.
What you don't have to say who the person was, but what was it? Were they snotty?
They didn't want to be here, it felt, from the second they walked in. And to the point where we just felt like we don't have to do this. And it was just, to me, felt like a clunky conversation because there was just not a lack of respect, but a lack of respect. It was just like, you know, we're here just doing our podcast. We're not claiming to be anything, and I think this person was just coming with a lot of judgments about the two of us, it seemed. And every time we asked a question, it was the answer was making fun of us in the answer.
You know, in acting you're supposed to do yes and. Like somebody says something and to continue an improv, you go yes and. It was just no. And it was no. Wow. It was the opposite of yes and. Everything was no.
Then Too Lazy made another video detailing their response, which is when Howie realized he was receiving backlash for his behavior. He commented on the video, "This is my favorite episode yet. Keep up the good work." Finally, Howie decided to formally respond to the situation on his own podcast by going clip by clip rewatching what took place and giving his perspective of what was going on inside his head. First, he said that he thought everyone was having a good time.
If you don't like me, or you don't think I'm funny, or you don't think what I'm doing is funny.
Man. He had to do this, Howie. He should have let this bitch
So then I
slide under the rug.
Too Lazy to Try to say that I was insufferable and they were having a bad time with me. In my recollection, I didn't sense that they were having a bad time with me. Because here's the thing. I don't care if you don't like me. I don't care if you don't find me entertaining. The fact that I may have made somebody feel like uncomfortable in the room as their guest really bothers me.
So after Howie saw that Rob and Jamie told Jim Norton that they had a bad experience with him, he DM'd her on Instagram and read it on his podcast. He said, "I hope I wasn't the horrible guest you were talking to Jim Norton about. If I came off offensive, I apologize. I truly was happy to be on your show and had a good time." To which Jamie replied, "I'm so glad to know you enjoyed it. Truly, we were very excited to have you on." And to confirm Howie's suspicion that they were actually talking about him, he asked her, "So I was the awful guest?" To which she did not reply.
Damn.
And even Howie understood that by Jamie not messaging him back, she was basically saying that he was the awful guest.
That's confirmation that it was me. And then now I've been watching the Too Lazy to Try because he shows scenes from it where it's been killing me. How can I construe, like, where would they get a bad vibe from me?
Howie spends the next 18 minutes going through many of the clips I played for you in this video and explaining what he was thinking during that time. And trust me when I tell you that his reaction to every single clip was that he was just joking and they did not understand his humor. And during his apology, he kept cracking jokes.
I will say that, like, if you got a comedian on your show, most of the time, most comedians will give you a whole, like, some comedians will give you a whole stick, like, they will give you a whole skit, like, they will fucking just bullshit with you, you know what I'm saying? And if you're not catching what they're getting, then, like, the show gonna be awkward if you're not catching the jokes with this comedian, you know what I'm saying? So I will say how Mandel's a comedian, and if he give you jokes and you're not responding to the jokes, it's gonna be awkward. So you gotta if you got a comedian on your show, you gotta go in.
Because I'm medicated, when I'm not performing on stage, I live in a gray zone, and my mood's there. So I'm not a good reactor, because people will go, I'll say something, and then they'll go, "Why are you so mad?" I go, "I'm not mad. I'm just not." I'm not mad. I'm just saying that their interpretation was he doesn't give a f***, he doesn't want to be here, and that's not true. I love you guys. I'm a fan of you guys. I'm going to keep watching you guys. I'm actually apologizing that I would make you feel that way. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying.
Are you talking to the Sopranos kid?
I didn't know they were on the Sopranos.
Yeah.
You know what? I came out of this podcast thinking I was great. People are going to love this. In their comments, they hated me. Their viewers, because they're on their wavelength, like ours are on ours, they hated me. They hated me. I didn't care that their viewers hated me. What I do care about is that I made
them uncomfortable. You visibly made them uncomfortable. I'm looking at this now. You answer, and she looks back at a control room like, guys, what the fuck is this? What's going on? Someone help us!
And also during his apology,
everybody got a fucking podcast. I just realized
Obviously, fans did not take this apology very well. Howie is just unflattering as a podcast host. Some people were just not meant to podcast. The more he talks, the less I like him. It seems pretty evident that two people with extreme OCD do not make for a good combination on a podcast. Howie expressed multiple times that he did not want to talk about his OCD. He also has well-documented interviews that say things like, "The biggest fear I have is being triggered. And if I'm triggered, I get some sort of weird thought in my head that can't go, and then my day is stopped. My life stops. Since Rob has a similar condition, he should know how debilitating it is to trigger someone with OCD. Plus, whenever Howie did cave and give Rob real advice, he combatively responded to Howie with multiple reasons why Howie's advice was not good enough. At the same time, Howie could have done even just a splash of research to know that they are not a comedy podcast, and his dry humor could easily be perceived as being rude or insulting, especially considering that he obviously did not know who these two were, nor did he know what their podcast was about. His half-baked, "I love your podcast, I'm still going to watch," an apology seems disingenuous because he couldn't acknowledge his pitfalls without cracking a joke immediately after. Overall, I think the lesson here is not everyone needs to start a podcast.
True. Like, Howie Mandel podcast. It depends who started. Like Sopranos kids started. I guess since they're talking about their OCD and their mental health, I guess that counts. But like, damn, people. I can't say that everybody should start a podcast. I don't think I should start a podcast right now in my day of life. Even though I do got a couple episodes of a podcast. If y'all want to check it out at the end of the video. But anyway, shout out to Patrici for this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I just think they didn't understand. I mean, I saw it was awkward on both ends because, like I said, their podcast is more serious. They want to talk about OCD, their mental health, you know, saying which is good, which is cool. It's a good those are some good podcasts right there. I like my podcast with a little comment. I like watching Shannon Sharp shit. What podcast do I listen to? Listen to a few. If it's about, I like watching basketball's podcast. I need some comedy in my podcast. I can't just be serious for like 2 hours, especially your podcast an hour, 2 hours, and you're just serious about OCDs and all, like mental health. Like, dude, I'm at work and I need something to laugh at. I need something interesting to talk about. That's just me. So if you like them, that's cool for you. So, but anyway, I'll catch you next time. Check out the last Patrick CC video right here. Check out another video right here. And peace.